The phone rang before sunrise, slicing through the quiet of our house like a warning bell. I reached for it, heart already pounding, and saw Mom glowing on the screen. Her voice was thin, trembling, nothing like the steady woman who raised me. "Wesley, my chest feels tight. My arm's gone numb." I was out of bed before she finished, cold floor biting at my feet, mind racing. I promised her I'd be there, told her to sit down, and unlock the door. As I grabbed my keys, a chill ran deeper than the morning air. I had no idea this call would change everything. I rushed to the stairs, ready to move mountains for my mother. But the world had other plans. In that moment, I thought nothing could stop me. I was wrong. The first obstacle was waiting for me at home. Welcome to Dad's Raw Revenge, where real stories meet real choices. Today's journey is about family, loyalty, and the moments that test what we're truly made of. If you've ever had to choose between what's easy and what's right, you'll feel this one in your bones. I want to hear from you. Have you ever faced a moment where family needed you, but life pulled you in another direction? Drop your story in the comments below. Don't forget to hit like if you believe in showing up for the people who matter, and subscribe for more true stories that remind us what's at stake when we're called to act. My mother, Rebecca, was never the type to ask for help. She was the one who packed my lunches, cheered from the sidelines, and waited up every night until I came home safe. After my father passed, she held our family together with quiet strength, never letting me see the weight she carried. Our bond was built on years of small, steady acts of love, her sacrifices shaping the man I became. I always felt it was my duty to show up for her, just as she had for me. My marriage, though, was different. Ive and I spent years keeping the peace, avoiding hard conversations, letting little distances grow. Her priorities were her own: work, friends, routines. I tried to believe that was enough, but deep down, I knew something was missing. My mother's loyalty was unconditional. My marriage felt more like a careful negotiation, Father Wesley, but my chest feels strange, and my left arm keeps tingling. I didn't hesitate. Years of her putting me first meant I'd do the same without question. I told her I was coming, hung up, and went straight for my keys, only to remember my truck was still at the shop, waiting on repairs. Panic flickered, but I quickly thought of Eve's car in the driveway, full tank, ready to go. I hurried upstairs, called out to Eve through the bathroom door, and explained the situation. I needed her car to get to Mom. In that moment, I was sure she'd understand. But as the water stopped and silence stretched, I realized my first real obstacle wasn't distance. It was right here at home. I stood at the bottom of the stairs, urgency in every word as I called up to Eve. She finally appeared, towel wrapped around her head, face unreadable. "I need your car. Mom's having chest pains. I have to get her to the hospital." She didn't flinch, didn't ask questions. "I can't today, Wesley. I have work and dinner plans. Call an ambulance." Her words landed cold, practical, as if my mother's emergency was just another inconvenience. I tried to explain. Mom hated ambulances, had a bad experience before, but Eve was already turning away. "She's your mother, not mine. Figure it out." The door closed softly behind her, and I stood there, stunned. The urgency in my chest met a wall of indifference. In that moment, I realized I was on my own. My mother needed me, and I'd have to find another way. With no time to waste, I pulled out my phone and called Clinton, my neighbor and old friend. He answered on the first ring, no questions asked. "Clinton, I need a favor. Mom's having chest pains. My truck's in the shop. Can you drive us to St. Francis?" His reply was instant. "Give me 4 minutes. I'll be out front." Relief washed over me, mixed with gratitude and something colder for Eve. Clinton showed up, steady as ever, and together we hurried to Mom's house. As we drove, I held her hand in the back seat, feeling the weight of every mile. Clinton's quiet presence was a reminder of what loyalty really means, showing up no matter what. The hospital loomed ahead, and my heart pounded with fear. I didn't know if I'd made it in time. At St. Francis, the nurses moved quickly, ushering Mom into an exam room while I waited, nerves raw. The doctor's face was unreadable as he ordered tests, his calm voice doing little to ease my worry. I sat in a hard plastic chair, watching the clock, every minute stretching longer than the last. My phone stayed silent. No message from Eve, not even a simple, "Is she okay?" The waiting room felt colder for it. When the doctor finally returned, his expression was serious, but not grim. "Your mother had a mild cardiac event. Not a full heart attack, but her body was warning her. She's stable, but we'll keep her for observation." Relief hit me so hard I nearly sagged in my seat. Gratitude for Clinton, for the timing, for Mom's resilience. But beneath it all, a cold realization settled in. My wife hadn't shown up at all. Sitting beside Mom's hospital bed, I watched her sleep, her hand still warm in mine. Memories flooded back. Her waiting up for me as a teenager, her steady presence at every milestone, her quiet strength after Dad passed. She had always shown up, no matter how tired or busy or unappreciated she felt. Now, in her moment of need, I was here. But the empty chair on the other side of the bed spoke volumes. Eve's absence wasn't just about today. It was the echo of years spent hoping she'd step up, make an effort, care enough to be present. I realized I'd been carrying the weight of this marriage alone, making excuses for her distance, convincing myself that keeping the peace was enough. But peace without partnership is just loneliness in disguise. For the first time, I questioned if I deserved more. The next morning, clarity replaced the ache in my chest. I promised myself that Mom's well-being would come first, no matter what. I spoke with her doctors, arranged for follow-up care, and made sure she'd have everything she needed at home. Sitting with her, I gently brought up the idea of updating her will and power of attorney. She agreed, her trust in me unwavering. I called our family lawyer, setting an appointment to ensure her wishes would be honored and her future protected. At the same time, I felt a quiet shift inside myself. I stopped waiting for Eve to change. I stopped making excuses for her absence. Instead, I began to draw boundaries, focusing on what I could control, my loyalty to Mom and my own self-respect. For the first time in years, I started to imagine a life where I wasn't alone in showing up. When I walked in, Eve was waiting, her posture tense, eyes searching my face for a sign of forgiveness. She started first, voice brittle. I tried to call. I was worried. I met her gaze, steady and calm. "You made your choice, Eve. When my mother needed help, you closed the door." She bristled, trying to explain. I had work, plans I couldn't cancel. I didn't think it was that serious. I shook my head, the weight of disappointment heavier than anger. "You didn't ask. You didn't care to find out. That's what hurts." She reached for excuses, but I didn't let her deflect. Actions have consequences. My mother changed her will. I'm changing how I show up in this marriage. The silence between us was final. For the first time, I stood firm, unwilling to carry the burden alone any longer. In the days that followed, I focused on Mom's recovery, visiting her daily, making sure she had everything she needed. I set up her medications, arranged for a nurse to check in, and spent quiet afternoons at her kitchen table, grateful for every moment we shared. At home, the atmosphere shifted. Eve moved through the house like a guest, her presence distant, her words careful. The legal changes became real, Mom's will was updated, and I began to separate my finances, drawing clear lines where there had only been compromise before. The silence between Eve and me grew, but it was no longer heavy with hope or regret. Instead, it felt honest, a space where I could finally breathe. For the first time in years, I felt at peace with my choices, knowing I had honored the person who had always shown up for me. Looking back, I realized the true measure of love isn't in grand gestures, but in the quiet, consistent act of showing up, especially when it's inconvenient. My mother spent her life putting others first, never asking for anything in return. When she needed me, I understood what loyalty really means. Neglecting those bonds, even out of habit or comfort, comes at a cost that's hard to repair. We all have people who count on us, and moments that test our priorities. I encourage you to think about who stands by you when it matters most, and who you're willing to stand up for, no matter what. In the end, those choices define the legacy we leave behind. Some people make deposits in your life, others only make withdrawals. Choose wisely. If you've ever faced a moment like this, I want to hear your story in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more real-life lessons, and stay tuned. Next time, I'll share what happened when a simple birthday visit uncovered a family secret no one saw coming.